Hey guys, and welcome back to Settlers, the project where we build towns, villages, and settlements across the world of Conan Exiles. This is the first episode of Season 2, and today we're going to be starting a new settlement in the northeastern jungle of the Exiled Lands. This season, much like Season 1, includes no mods. I will be using Pippi's Thespian NPCs to populate the village for storytelling, but all the construction and decoration is mod-free, so this is all possible on console. The focus for this season will be the Darfari. I find this faction to be pretty underrepresented in terms of their presence in the Exiled Lands, and they're definitely not fleshed out as much as some other cultures. Being as they're tribal people, they don't hold to the same building conventions as other cultures, so it should be an interesting challenge. The setting for this season is a mountaintop high above the jungle named Canopy Overlook. This area will be perfect for a small, dense camp of established Darfari, so this settlement will be named the Overlook. The Darfari aren't really thought of for their architecture, but I do want to take a little bit of a different approach with that in this season. Rather than relying heavily on tents and such, I wanted to try to imagine how an established Darfari camp would actually build permanent structures. So the material palette for this build is a very naturalistic one, focusing heavily on wood and fabric with as little treated stone and metal as possible. Flotsam and insulated wood are the main choices and should work nicely for the Overlook. So with that being said, today's build is the Common Area, a series of cliffside platforms where the Darfari eat, drink, grow herbs and generally spend their free time. So without further ado, let's make a start on Season 2 of Settlers. Firstly, I started off with of course the base plates. Seeing as the Overlook is so high above the jungle floor, it seems only right to make good use of the verticality of this area. I started off by using insulated wooden foundations to build platforms onto the cliffside, which will serve as the core for each platform. I then extended out said platforms with flotsam ceilings to give it a bit of extra floor space. Once I'd done that, I also fenced off the edges so, the Darfari aren't falling to their deaths regularly. Next for the Watchtower. This will stand tall over this section of the settlement, but I don't want it to look too solid, so I built it using flotsam ceilings, wedges and pillars for a more scaffolding style design. This is fairly simple and works quite well, and I built the tower 4 tiles high. Once I'd finished building the pillars and ceilings, I placed fences on the edge and raised pillars another 2 tiles in the centre of the tower, which I'll use later on to provide some cover from the rain, and it does rain a lot in this area. After I'd finished the watchtower construction, I added some detailing to the platforms by running pillars down to the ground or into the rock below. This scaffolding look works really well for this design, and it's something I've wanted to incorporate for a while, so I really wanted to make sure it was present across this settlement, especially in this area where the platforms are hanging from the cliff. Next, I went back to the tower, adding flotsam crenellated walls for decorations and adding a small gazebo roof on top, finished off with flotsam awnings. I then built a roof above the dining area. I had already placed a 3x4 section above this area, so I used flotsam roof pieces to build a really simple open gable roof over this platform. This area, as I said, sees a lot of rain, so it's important to have coverage from it. I used flotsam awnings on the sides of the roof to provide even more cover, while still keeping the build relatively open. I also added some inverted sloping sides to smooth the transition out. After the roof, I moved back to the tower once more. I removed the fences on the edge of the platform surrounding the tower, and I instead built up flotsam walls and windows 1 tile high to provide at least a bit of protection for the base of the tower, finishing that protection off with flotsam crenellated walls again. Next, I built another roof section over the platform below the tower. This will be a small outhouse of sorts where herbs and plants are grown, so it only needs to be a fairly small design. Once I'd built the cover, I then used the stair trick to place pillars on either side, and then used flotsam door frames to make it a bit more built up. I also added another small outhouse on the right side of this section, which will hold some storage and other things like that. Finally, when the shell of the build was done, it was then time to, of course, furnish. Approaching the build, I've lit the area with open flames and decorated with Darfari decorations, including skulls, skeletal decorations, flags and a captured prisoner outside. The base of the tower is a transitional and storage space, whilst the top of the tower is watched over by a Darfari archer, with a horn at the ready should any strangers approach the Overlook. This Darfari tribe, whilst they are established in the area, are still extremely hostile to outsiders, and will likely either attack or imprison anybody that accidentally wanders into their territory. Stepping down, the next platform is a social space with work areas. Herbs and flowers are grown here, presided over by the witch doctor. There's also an alternative exit back towards what will be the rest of the village, and a small storage hut holding jugs, pots, boxes and an artisan bench. Heading downwards again, the lower platform includes a small walkway, again looking over the entrance to the Overlook, alongside a common area on the other side. This section includes storage, a dining and social space and some beds for the Darfari too. And there we have it, the start of Settlers Season 2. The Darfari should be quite an interesting culture to base this season on, one that should hopefully test my building abilities with a bit of the less traditional style. There are some loose story plans in progress for this season which you will see in the coming episodes, and I'm also planning a surprise for the finale of this season, so you'll definitely want to stick around to see what that is. If you enjoy my content, all the links to my Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Patreon, Host Havoc affiliate page, NordVPN discount and NordPass discount are available in the description below. However, of course, you can simply just leave a like, a comment or subscribe. Any of those are very greatly appreciated. Patrons get a bunch of nice benefits, including sneak peeks of videos, your name in every video, custom made wallpapers in 1080p and 4K resolutions, full size build blueprints, Discord roles and more. On that note, a massive thanks to our patrons Sadialot, Randar, Connor, Ivy, Torn, Ill-Fated, Coffeeman04, Jacques, Marion Ladd, Ryan, Ben, Alfric, and Eagle Rose. As always, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.